From the Jeffrey Epstein suicide to Trump and Clinton. 5 takeaways from Ghiislaine Maxwell transcripts. Tyrone Bowman live. Let's talk about it according to USA Today. There were no bombshells in newly released transcripts and audio files from the Justice Department's interviews last month with convicted sex offender and Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghiislaine Maxwell, after the department touted the interview as part of its effort to increase transparency when it comes to Epstein. The hundreds of pages of redacted transcripts and handful of audio clips released August 22nd show that Maxwell questions a medical examiner's finding that the financier killed himself in jail in 2019 while he was awaiting a criminal trial on federal sex trafficking charges. However, Maxwell waved away conspiracy theories suggesting someone outside the jail had killed him and said she never saw any man in Epstein's orbit acting inappropriately with a woman. Quote, I never, ever saw any man doing something inappropriate with a woman of any age, close quote, Maxwell told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, a former defense lawyer to Trump who handled the interviews personally. The non-revelatory transcripts probably won't satisfy people who insist Epstein maintained a list of powerful clients who participated in a sex trafficking ring as he rubbed shoulders with some of the world's most rich and powerful men. The Trump administration has outrage from members of Trump's own base for refusing to release its files on Jeffrey Epstein after several people in Trump's inner circle fanned the flames of Epstein-related conspiracy theories for years. Maxwell is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for sex trafficking a minor to Epstein and other sex crimes. Soon after giving the interviews in July, she was transferred to a cushier minimum security prison camp located in Texas. Now, here are 5 takeaways for the newly released transcripts. Maxwell appeared to go out of her way to praise President Donald Trump, who was friends with Epstein in the 1990s and early 2000s, and who now holds the power to pardon her. Maxwell's defense lawyer, David Oscar Marcus, said he hopes Trump will exercise that power, quote, in the right and just way, end quote. That Maxwell would be happy to testify before Congress if Trump gives her clemency first. All right. Why is there a contingency attached to Maxwell's supposedly testimony before Congress? Why does she want guaranteed clemency first before she opens her mouth and speaks? I already know the answer. Trump noted that power during questioning by reporters about Maxwell on July 28th in Scotland, but added it would be inappropriate to discuss it. Asked about Trump's relationship with her and with Epstein, Maxwell said Trump was always kind and cordial with her, quote, and I just want to say that I admire his extraordinary achievement in becoming the president now, end quote, she said, and I like him and I've always liked him. Maxwell said specifically that she never saw Trump receiving a massage. Epstein has been accused of luring underage girls into sex acts by arranging for them to give massages that would turn sexual. In 2008, he was convicted of a Florida prostitution offense involving minors. Quote, I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody, end quote, Maxwell said. Quote, in the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects, end quote. Maxwell characterized President Bill Clinton, who traveled on Epstein's plane, as someone she'd rather than Epstein was close with. President Clinton was my friend, not Epstein's friend, Maxwell said. Clinton traveled on Epstein's plane about 26 times, she said, but she characterized it as, quote, one journey, end quote, and said she knows Clinton didn't receive a massage during it. Quote, that would have been the only time that I think that President Clinton could have even received a massage, she said, and he didn't because I was there. All right, I'm going to show you a photo in a minute. I'll show you the photo. Let me finish this. In a 2-page July memo declaring it wouldn't be releasing its files on Epstein, the FBI said its investigations concluded Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan cell in August of 2019. Maxwell questioned the finding in her interviews with Blanche. I do not believe he died by suicide. No, she said. However, Maxwell also disputed conspiracy theories suggesting someone outside the jail had Epstein killed to keep him quiet. Now, here's a photo of the jail cell of accused sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and it is seen as part of the investigation. All right, this is a big question here. Why would such a high-profile individual, such as Jeffrey Epstein, not have been guarded around the clock, day and night? Doesn't make sense. A guard should always been posted at his door 24/7. If they believe that he was suicidal, then he should have been put in what is called a cold cell. A cold cell is where the individual is put in the cell. They don't have anything. They don't have any clothes on. They just have a mattress. Maybe they don't even have a blanket. And they're watched around the clock, 24 hours a day. Let me tell you a story. It's a real story. When I was incarcerated for crimes I didn't commit, there was a judge whose husband was arrested and accused of some horrible crimes. And they had him in the protective custody unit. He was watched like a hawk night and day and night the entire time he was there. And all the charges against the judge's husband were dismissed. And they were all of a sexual nature. All the charges were dismissed. And this cell looks a mess. So Maxwell said, of course it's possible, but I don't know of any reason why, and I don't believe in the blackmail or in any of this. I don't think Epstein had a hit on like that. She added that she thought the idea was ludicrous because Epstein would have been a very easy target before he was jailed in 2019. If a powerful person had actually decided to take him out, if Epstein was murdered, she believes it was an internal situation involving someone else at the jail. Blanche asked Maxwell about banking records indicating that Epstein sent her or her entities about $30 million over several years. The transfers included about $18.3 million in 1999, $5 million in 2022, and $7.4 million in 2007. By 2005, Epstein was under investigation for sex crimes involving minors. Maxwell declined that Epstein was paying her for recruiting underage girls to be sexually abused, as prosecutors suggested at her trial. She said, some of the transfers could have been to accounts controlled by Epstein's accountants or could have been loans from Epstein for her business ventures. He never paid me for any nefarious reason, Maxwell said. I don't think this money is mine. Maxwell maintained her innocence throughout the 2 days of interviews, despite being convicted in 2021 of conspiring to entice and transport minors for illegal sex acts and of sex trafficking a minor to Epstein. Maxwell currently has an appeal pending at the U.S. Supreme Court. She said she never knowingly recruited someone underage to perform massages for Epstein and never witnessed sexual abuse. Quote, I never saw a single masseuse ever look unhappy or not come back or whatever, end quote, she said. The seemingly dead end when it comes to new accountability is unlikely to satisfy victims who were already upset by the Justice Department's decision to shift Maxwell to a lower security prison after she spoke with Blanche. Quote, President Trump has sent a clear message today. Pedophiles deserve preferential treatment and their victims do not matter, end quote. The surviving siblings of Epstein's victim, Virginia Guthrie, who died by suicide in April, said in a statement along with victim Annie Farmer and her sister Maria Farmer following reports of the move. After the investigation's release, Maxwell defense lawyer David Oscar Marcus said in a statement on X that his client is innocent and never participated in sexual abuse against anyone. And I'll keep you updated on this story as information is made available. Somebody said, why are you suing Rolex? Okay. Never surrender, never quit, everybody.